You belong on every ground your feet grace, so don't ever feel out of place. Take up space and belong. This earth is your birthplace. Okay, so the third movie in my 7 days of Christmas movie reviews, I'm going to watch Best Christmas Ever. And I thought it came out this year, but it actually came out last year. But it's with Brandy, Heather Graham, Jason Biggs, and Matt Cedinho or something like that. I forgot. Cedinho. I don't know. I'll put it on the screen. Um, so it starts off. It starts off with Brandy typing up this like letter, and it sounds like she's like updating maybe some friends or family about the things that's happening in her family, and a lot of the things are very like they're big things like um she's typing up a letter of how well her family has been doing over the year and like a lot of the things that they're interested in. I'll put it on the screen because I can't remember, I'm not gonna lie. A lot of things that they've done that, if you're like, basically it starts off with Brandy typing this letter updating her friends and family of the things that her family has been doing, her husband, her kids, and her have been doing over the years leading up to Christmas and what they got going on right now. And at first I thought the letter was like that, a letter, like maybe an email or something like that she sent it to everybody. But then it goes to Heather Graham's character reading it. And she's like annoyed with everything she's read. So okay, it's said, and then she's like, nobody's family is this perfect, is it? And she's kind of like talking into the camera, like nobody's family is this perfect, is it? And then she balls the letter up and throws it. So it's setting a tone for the fact that she don't like Brandy's character, like they got beef. And it's like, at first I thought this movie was about her and Brandy being best friends since they were younger, but them having like a competitive friendship. However, they actually went to college together, and Brandy's character used to date her husband. And they were all friends in school, and like they always was competitive, and she doesn't really like her like that. She feels like Brandy's character was always trying to one up her or whatever, so she don't like her. So she basically tells her husband like, she was always exaggerating, embellishing things or whatever. And he's like, she didn't really embellish things. She's kind of dramatic or whatever. But anyways, they're getting ready to go spend Christmas with her sister, and so they're packing up their car and stuff. So she's like getting the kids together. And, her son gets in the passenger seat with his little monkey. Her daughter thinks that she has some type of powers because of Marvel. So she thinks she has some superpowers. So she has a list of powers that she could have. And she's like doing certain things to see if she got the powers. And she's going through the list or whatever. But she goes and she's packing up the car, and her son gets in the passenger seat and said he called shotgun for him and his monkey, which he named Bob. And he sees the letter and he's like, why can't we go spend Christmas with Aunt Jackie instead of her sister, his mom's sister? And she's like, there's nothing that I would love more than to show up unannounced on Aunt Jackie's doorstep or whatever. But we're going to, your aunt, your real aunt. And she hands him her phone and she says, put your aunt's new number, I mean new address in the GPS, and you better not download any games. And then she walks away. And so he gets the bright idea to put Aunt Jackie, which is not his aunt, but like her Brandy's character is Aunt Jackie. So he puts her address in instead. And they all get in the car and they go to, her sister's new house. She thinks it's her sister's new house, but it ends up being Brandy's house. And they get out and she comes to the door, opens the door for them or whatever. And like, she Brandy's character is happy to see them, but of course, the lady is not happy to see her. She actually is in shock because she's trying to figure out like what happened, and then she remembers that she told her son to put the address in the GPS, and he's like, surprise. And he was like, I know he said you did say that you wanted to show up you would love to show up at her house unannounced or whatever, so I made it happen. And then Brandy's character is like, she was like, she apologized and was like, no, we were supposed to go to my sister's house. And she like, you don't have to apologize, like y'all should just come in, and then y'all can get back on the road because it's late or whatever. And then she's like, okay, cool, but we're leaving first thing in the morning. So they go in and they get settled. She ushers them to their bedrooms and they get settled, and um she comes into their bedroom with a picture of her and Jason Biggs' character, and was like, you remember this? This is when we went to Battle of the Bands and we won. Show him the picture, and then she sat the picture on their nightstand and brought an extra blanket and was like, yeah, I remember that your toes get cold or whatever. And she they all go to bed. She leaves and she's like, um my room is next door, don't be shy, if you need something just come knock on the door and ask me and I'll get it for you. And then she goes to bed, and then the two of them get in the bed, and she asks her husband, like, why did you date her? Like, what was it about her that made you want to date her? And he said, he was a sheltered kid and she was fun, she was spontaneous and stuff. And she was like, well, I could be fun and spontaneous. And so then he tries to like kiss her, trying to get her in the mood to have sex. And she's like, what are you doing? And he's like, you said you spontaneous, right? And she like, I don't know, I don't trust your motives, I don't trust that you want to do this for the right reasons. And he like, okay. And then he just turns over and goes to sleep. He just turns over and get ready to go sleep, and she like, he said, okay, Mrs. Spontaneous, and then turns over and goes to sleep. And she like, what? Now you just said you were spontaneous, he tried to have sex with you and you turn him down. But anyways, they go to sleep and they wake up the next morning. She wakes up and her son's monkey is beside her on the bed, and she jumps. Her husband comes in, and the boy comes in the room and is like, sorry, but Bob likes to see you sleep sometimes. So her kids are kind of weird, okay? One thinks she's a superhero and the other one talks to a stuffed monkey. So they're kind of weird compared to Brandy's kids, who are like really smart and like have other things going for them that most kids don't. So her husband comes in and is like, good morning, like, come and have breakfast. Like, she fixed us breakfast, come and have breakfast. um no, first I think she goes, he tells her that it snowed and like looks like we're gonna be here. She basically like, looks like we're gonna be here longer than just for tonight because it snowed. And she runs to the front of the house and so she could go outside. She runs outside to see their car. And no, the little boy was the one who mentioned that their car disappeared. And so she runs to go see what he's talking about. And the car is like snowed in. It's like at least 6 inches of snow on top of their car. You can't go nowhere. So, she's freaking out because she can't go nowhere. And then the husband is like, you should come in and get some breakfast. They fixed us breakfast. But he said, try not to stare. And so when they go in the kitchen, Brandy's husband is like cooking and like, they zooming in on his arms and stuff. And when he saw her, he gives her a cup of coffee and she's just staring at him drinking the coffee. And then her husband clears his throat to get her attention, to break her out of her trance or whatever. And so they sit down to eat breakfast, and they sit down to eat breakfast with Brandy and her family. I think she introduces her husband and her daughter because they didn't meet them last night because they came so late. So they met them the next morning or whatever. Yeah, she introduces them, and they're at the table eating, and one of the kids was like, what was that noise last night or whatever? Because they were having, Brandy and her husband was having sex, and Brandy's character says, oh, me and your uncle we were just moving furniture or whatever. And the little girl was like, well, my mom and dad, they don't ever move furniture. And the mom is like, we do move furniture, we just do it quieter, but we definitely move furniture or whatever. So this sets the tone for it's gonna be just competition the whole time. Because she doesn't like Brandy's character because she feels like she's faking it. She tells her husband like something is off, like her son it's Christmas and her son is not home, and he's like, well, she did say he went to something, he went to some type of camp or something he went to. And she like, yeah, right. And she's like, there's something weird about this house, something weird about this situation, and we're gonna figure it out. And he's like, are you just saying this because I used to date her in college, or do you really feel like this is not? And she's like, no, that's not why I'm saying it. And he's like, well, then why are you saying it? She's like, because like it's something weird and I feel like something is off. And then he questions her about her like response to Brandy's husband touching her leg, and she's like, he was just making sure I was comfortable, something she said to like kind of write it off. Like, you literally sitting here jealous of a woman that your husband dated in college, but you're flirting with her husband. You're perfectly fine with her husband doing weird stuff to you, but everything she do to your husband has to be some motive behind it. If you gonna complain, be fair about it. So she ends up going around their house snooping for evidence that their life isn't as perfect as Jackie is putting on, because her life is terrible, so other people's life has to be terrible too, and there's no way nobody has a great life like this. And she finds a book on Photoshop, which makes her think that Jackie photoshopped the pictures that she sent in the Christmas letters or whatever. But when she goes snooping, she ends up finding proof that the things that they did actually did happen, and she couldn't find no evidence that it didn't happen. Oh, so they go out to buy Christmas trees, and Jackie sees one of her inventions. Um, and she asks, "What is it?" They explain to her what it is, and she um loves it. And she tells her like, when you got talent, you should use it. Like, you should use your talent or whatever. Um, she asked Jackie about her son Daniel, and Jackie, because Jackie mentions that Daniel wants to save the world one day, and Charlotte asked her like, I forgot what question she actually asked, that Jackie said something along the lines of like, she misses him and loves him or whatever. But I feel like Charlotte still kind of like feels like the secret that Jackie is hiding has to do with Daniel, if that makes sense. Um Charlotte, when they get back home, Charlotte checks Jackie's mail and sees a letter from Rob, her husband. Um But instead of just saying something about it, she doesn't. She tries to act like she didn't see it. But while her and Jackie's husband is talking, she asks Jackie's husband if Jackie ever talks to Rob or like talks about Rob or whatever, and he's like, no, she doesn't, or whatever. And he asked her like, do you have an issue with the fact that they dated before? And she's like, do you? And he's like, no. He said, um, just because two, and she he tells her no, he doesn't feel no type of way. And he asked her, are you attracted to me? And he said, do you find me attractive? And she says, yeah. And he's basically like, see, just because two people find each other attractive does not mean that something can be going on with them. And she's like, oh, so you're saying you find me attractive? And he says no. I thought that was funny though. So while Jackie is trying to prove that, no, while Charlotte is trying to prove that Jackie is living a lie, Jackie's daughter, Beatrix, is trying to prove that Santa Claus is fake. Her and Grant is Charlotte and Rob's son, are trying to prove that, well, she's trying to prove that Santa is fake, and he's trying to prove that Santa is real, so they're trying to prove the same thing, basically. Um, um, so they go out to, oh no, Charlotte snoops around Jackie's office and she knocks down something when she hears somebody coming up the stairs toward her. So she knocks something down and goes out of the window. So when they come in, they see the thing knocked down and they're trying to figure out what happened. And then Jackie's husband is like, oh, well, maybe you left the window open. They closed the window. So she's locked outside. So she ends up having to get off the freaking window sill, or like, was it a little, not a patio, balcony, and go to the front door to get back in the house because she's snooping for answers, and knock stuff down. Like, she just was doing too much. Um she seems to be very jealous and won't admit it. She thinks, cuz I don't see how she could think that something is going on between Jackie and Rob. Like, their relationship seemed very innocent to me. Like, so why do you think that something is going on between the two of them? I don't get it, but whatever. Um So they go to this like event or whatever, this Christmas event, and Jackie and Rob ends up singing together, and of course Charlotte hates it, but instead of like, one matter of fact, when it was over, um her daughter runs up to her and say, "Mommy, Rob, Dad and Auntie Jackie are magical together." And like, this makes her like even more annoyed. So she tells Rob that she has some last minute Christmas shopping to do, and that she was going to go to the store to go Christmas shopping. But actually she went back to Jackie's house to snoop around, and she tried to find the letter that she saw so she could prove that something was going on between the two of them, but she's not able to find it. In fact, she ends up getting caught because Jackie's husband thinks that somebody broke into the house, and like, he goes into the room where Charlotte is at, and he like kicks her down, and then they turn on the light and they see her and they ask her like, what are you doing in here or whatever. um no, yeah, she ends up, okay, so when they go inside, they see this thing that is covered up, and Jackie's husband pulls the cover back and is like, what is this? And then when he reveals it, it's his mom's dollhouse that I think got damaged during a fire or something like that. and Jackie actually put it back together for him or whatever. And he's amazed and like he's so happy that she did it or whatever. They're caught up in a moment. They ask Jackie what she's doing in there, and I think something happened. She stumbled back and ends up knocking the dollhouse down and ruining the whole thing. And like they send the kids downstairs so they can deal with whatever is going on with her. And just as Jackie and her husband is about to leave, while Rob confronts Jackie, Jackie is like, I saw what do you two have going on? Like I saw the letter you wrote her or whatever. And so Jackie looks at Rob and it's like, Rob, you have to tell her. And Rob digs in his pocket, he pulls out the letter and he hands it to her. And it's one of the newsletters that he sent Jackie about their life. So he basically was sending all of their family and friends the newsletters, but he was hiding it from her because she always talked about how much she hates it and how much, because people brag and people, it's just a thing for people to brag or whatever. And he's like, I didn't tell you because you hate them so much, because you hate your life. And she's like, I don't hate my life. And he's like, yes you do. That's why you are obsessing over Jackie's life and trying to prove that her life is a lie or whatever. And he walks out because he's upset that, my feelings hurt because you're basically showing me that you're not happy with your life, by being pissed off that this woman's life is good. Like you hate that her life is good. um and then he walks off or whatever. And she basically feels stupid. She feels stupid afterwards or whatever. So they decide that they're gonna leave because of what she did or whatever. And she goes to tell Jackie that she's about to leave, and Jackie is like, for what? Like, why are you leaving? Are we not going to spend Christmas together? And she's like, well, after everything that happened, we thought you would want me to leave or whatever. And she's like, no, like, people make mistakes or whatever. And she's like, we're friends. And then Charlotte is like, we were friends. And she's like, no, we are friends. Like, we're still friends. You're the only one who don't think that we're friends. Like, we're still friends. People make mistakes. You broke a material thing. You didn't destroy a person. So all is forgiven, like, or whatever. So they decide to stay. They decide to stay, and she ends up going and trying to rebuild the dollhouse or whatever. And then Rob comes in and helps her do it. He's like, do you think it can be, and they're looking at the damage or whatever, and he's like assessing it and like telling her all the things that they need to do or whatever. And he's like, so do you think it's salvageable? He's like, everything is salvageable. And she's like, are we salvageable? And he's like, of course, like, whatever. He said, all you need is a strong foundation for things to be salvageable or whatever. So also the kids are still trying to no. So she goes and she talks to Jackie and tells her that, she kind of wants to make up for what she did and how she made her husband feel. And she's like, I think it's time for me to, invest in his dream house or whatever. So her and Jackie went to the bank to try and get a loan to do it. And the man was trying to like blackball them, and so not blackball, lowball, my bad, trying to lowball them. And the little girl, because the little girl is like a genius and she goes to Harvard or whatever. And like, so the little girl starts calling him out and like exposing their flaws in front of all of their customers. And they got him to take the I think that it's the tax in the house. It can't be a price. It had to be like the rate tax something. they got him to take it down, and he even was going to get them a new house or whatever. And so um they made that happen. When they went back to the house, the little girl tells the grown-ups that Grant, her, like, she comes clean about believing that Santa was fake, and telling Grant that Santa was fake, and telling them that Grant wanted to prove that Santa was real, so he went to the one place that Santa would find him, and that is their house. So now they're going to look for Grant. Like, Charlotte is riding around looking for him, because of course he go to their house, there's no way that he is already there, right? So, like, they're trying to find him or whatever. I don't know why this clip was muted, because I didn't mute it unless I did by accident. But basically what I was saying was everyone was looking for Grant until Charlotte finds him at this restaurant eating. Bob ended up getting hungry. His little monkey ended up getting hungry, so he stopped to feed it. And the people at the restaurant was looking out for him because, he's a kid, he was by himself. And she thanks them. So they have the talk about Santa. He asked her if Santa is real. She asked him if he believes that Santa is real. He said yeah, and he said he wants to believe it. And so she tells him, like, okay, well then believe it. After that, um while they're in the restaurant, she sees an invention that she warned her company about on the news for exploding and setting people's houses on fire. And so she feels like her job is in jeopardy. So now she wants to pull out of the house deal. She tells Jackie that things like this always happen to her, and how excited Rob was going to be to see that she bought that house, but now she got to pull out of it because of this situation that happened. And Jackie is basically like, no, you don't. Like, it's always another choice, but she doesn't see another choice, so she decides that she go pull out. On her way leaving, Rob, she ends up upping into Rob, and he tells her that he saw what happened, and she tells him that he's like, they'll figure everything out, and he was like, you were right to tell me not to put our money into that house because it didn't pan out, or because this situation happened. And she was like, you were right, I was right. And she tells him that she'll be back, she had to handle something, so she leaves. And on her way going there, she ends up running off the road, hitting something, or about to hit something and running off the road. And
She
the
stopped
angel
to
lady
make sure
came to
that she
check on
was
her to
all
make sure she
right
was
or
good.
whatever. And when she talked to her, she tells her, like, I'm glad y'all came to spend time with Jackie because she needs it after. She needs people around Christmas after what happened, and to Grant or whatever. And so she like, what you mean? But she didn't ask her. But on her way driving to town, she ends up seeing the memorial for Grant, the fundraiser or whatever for Grant. And so she goes back to the house, and she finds the key to go to Grant's room, because it was a room, his room was locked. So she finds the key to go to Grant's room, and she finds the key to go to his room, and it goes inside and sees, and that's when Jackie sees her. And then Jackie said, this isn't something that you could just write about in a Christmas card, in a Christmas letter or whatever. And she tries to explain why she didn't say anything, and Charlotte just like hugs her and is like, I understand, like, you lost a child, that's not an easy thing, I get it, I don't expect you to be honest about it. And whenever she was keeping the whole Grant thing secret, and plus the way that she would react whenever Charlotte brung him up, I kind of felt like he was dead. I kind of felt like he was dead. Something happened that she didn't want to talk about or whatever. But she comes clean and she tells her what happened. And there's kind of something, and Charlotte ends up consoling her about the whole thing or whatever. And she told Charlotte, I want to show you something. So she takes her and she shows her the hot air balloon that Grant designed, that she promised she would bring to life or whatever. And so they were planning to light it up because there was a star on it or whatever, light it up for Christmas or whatever. Um and while they were there, like, it ended up malfunctioning. She brought it back down. Charlotte took a look at it, fixed whatever was going on with it. Also, Jackie was wearing the gloves that Charlotte made for the rest of the movie after she found it. Not the rest of the movie, but she was wearing it or whatever, and Charlotte told her to keep them on. And Charlotte told her to keep them on because they would help with the balloon flying. So the two of them get in the balloon so they could go and light it up for the Christmas thing they were having. However, it ends up getting stuck to this sleigh, and the sleigh ends up flying with them. So Charlotte comes up with this idea to let it stay on there because Grant needs to believe in Christmas, and this was a great way to help him believe in Christmas. So she climbed out of the hot air balloon and got in a got in a sleigh. They flew over and close enough where she could drop Grant's monkey down. So the kids could see that Santa does exist, and she pretended to be Santa. She dropped the monkey down, and then they flew off. They landed, got the sleigh off, and then Jackie went back up in the sky so she could light the star on the hot air balloon. So, after she gets down, they celebrate Christmas. They're singing Christmas carols, whatever. They just have a great ending to the whole crazy, like, trip or whatever. And it goes off with them singing. I thought this was a pretty good movie. It's typical Christmas movie. Like I said earlier, I thought it came out in 2024, but it actually came out in 2023. But it was cool. I wanted to watch it because Brandy was in it. And, I support all of my black women and whatever they got going on. So I watched it because of Brandy. And it was pretty good. Typical Christmas movie. A little different spin, I guess you could say, on it. Not a different spin, because Christmas movie is either about family that can't get together but gotta come together for Christmas, or it's about this child and his Christmas wish and making the wish come true, or something like that. You usually don't see any different I haven't seen a different Christmas movie yet, which is why I have put Red One on my list. The movie was pretty good. Like I said, I'm not doing the star scale anymore. I enjoyed watching it. It was cool. I do think that it's worth the watch if you really like Christmas movie. If you somebody that don't like Christmas movies, there is no Christmas movie that is going to make you like it, because they all pretty much have the same formula. I ain't gonna say no. There are very few that are gonna make you like it, because they all have the same formula. But definitely check it out though if y'all like Christmas movies, and even if y'all don't, even if y'all just want to support Brandy or whatever, check it out. But make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think about the movie. Yeah, let me know what you think about it, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye. Before you go, check out my website at srgrahamwrites.org and subscribe to my mailing list to get exclusive updates on works in progress, other news, and blog posts. Thank you.